Motivational fitness coaching for beginners.
Fitness during COVID-19 has been surging. Among all the weight gain during the stay-at-home order, people have been looking for fitness options in their home. Today we're going to be discussing some of those options, and stay tuned until the end where you get a in-home fitness checklist to help you avoid investing in the wrong type of fitness for you. You're listening to Trying to Fit, a motivational fitness podcast meant to guide beginners to getting fit through the proper mindset, planning, and actions. My name is Vladimir, Coach Glad Simeon, and I'm a health fitness specialist with a philosophy to keep fitness practical so that it's easy to start and maintain. We're here to get inspired to get healthier, learn from the successful, and overcome whatever is keeping you from getting fit. Are you ready to put in work? Let's get started.
It's time to get busy.
All right, warm-up time. Let's get started.
Welcome to Trying to Fit. I'm your host, Coach Glad, and I want to thank you so much for tuning in. Today is episode 8, and we started a series talking about health and fitness during COVID-19. Last week, we discussed if personal training is safe during COVID-19, and if you have not heard that episode, just look for the Trying to Fit podcast on all of the major podcast platforms. But today we're going to be discussing some of your in-home fitness options when it comes to this global pandemic. Being at home the last few months has gotten us out of our routine. And I know personally for me, I gained a lot of weight during the stay-at-home order, and it took me a while to get back on track, especially with the gyms being closed. And you probably have a similar story, and it took me a while to get some things ready for our home gym for my wife and I, and made a lot of mistakes doing so. My hope is that you avoid some of the same mistakes when it comes to getting your home fitness in order.
All right, time to put in the work. Ready, set, go.
Before we get started, I want to give you the disclaimer. Everyone is different, and what works for me may not work for you. However, I want you to walk away with some insight before you start spending any money on your fitness. We're living in different times, therefore you have to come in with a different mindset so you can adapt to the new times. And going to the gym, personal training, or going to a park may not work for you. Therefore, in-home fitness may be the best option for you. Just a quick story. Back in February, my wife and I decided on building a home gym. And we did not plan well at all. And because of that, we ended up dragging our feet. And then in March, we had the stay-at-home order. And some of the gyms were still open at that time. So I was like, okay, maybe they're going to stay open during whatever is happening. Because at the time, everything was so new and we didn't know what was going on, especially with all of that information that was coming out. Then the gyms closed. And I was like, okay, at least I could work out at the park. Then the parks closed. And by that time, all of the equipment on the shelves were gone. All of the fitness equipment was gone. And the only place you can find fitness equipment was either online through Walmart or Amazon, or you had to do what people call offer up or let go, these local sites that you can pick up different items from different people in your neighborhood that are selling old equipment that they put on offer up for sale. And because of this, supply was really, really low and the demand was really, really high. And as a result, all the fitness equipment, the prices just skyrocketed. And I ended up spending probably 3 times as much on our in-home gym as I could have if I would have done it in February. For example, a pair of maybe 5-pound dumbbells, that sold for $12 to $15 before the pandemic was now selling for $25 to $35. And that's really on the low end. I've seen crazy prices on things where now they're 2 or 3 times what it was before the pandemic. Which brings me to my first quote by Benjamin Franklin, and it reads, "If you fail to plan, you are planning to fail." And because we didn't plan well, I ended up spending so much more. And I want you to avoid making the same mistake in overspending on your fitness equipment.
Easy set. Time to add some weight.
Well, firstly, I want to make sure that you come in with the right mindset and set the right expectations so you set yourself up for success. And secondly, I wanted to go through the options so that they're price conscious, because we are in a global pandemic and an economic crisis. Therefore, we're going to go through some of your options from least expensive to most expensive, which leads me to our first option, which is free to very, very low, is YouTube free online classes and apps. With this, they're either free or very, very low cost. They allow you to be consistent, and it allows you to stay active while waiting to make larger purchases on fitness equipment. I like this option for people that are first starting out before they start spending way too much money. Now, the second option, which is a little bit more money, it's a monthly subscription to one of those fitness platforms. So it could be Peloton, I think Echelon, and there's different things like that where you don't necessarily need to purchase the equipment up front, but it's a monthly membership. And I like this option for people that are a little bit more consistent. So the number one benefit is as much as your gym membership would have been. There's more variety in workouts, and the classes are actually live or they're on demand. And this is a good option for people that are more consistent and they need a little bit more motivation and variety so they can stay consistent with their workouts. And the third option is probably the most expensive option, and that is spending a ton of money on fitness equipment. I don't like this option for beginners or somebody that is looking to start because of the price point. And what ends up happening, the same people that purchase that equipment ends up selling it on OfferUp. But I like this for people that are very, very consistent, and it is only going to help them stay consistent by giving them more variety with their workouts. So some of the benefits with that is your workouts become more effective. With some of those large purchases like the Peloton, it comes with a online option, and lastly, you get to recreate what you did at the gym at home. One of the drawbacks though is a lot of time this equipment is large and bulky and requires its own personal space, and depending on your home you may not have that kind of space available. But if you want to stay consistent, you really have to dedicate the space for that more expensive piece of equipment. And what I want you to avoid is spending that money up front. When you do spend that money, don't think that you're going to become some type of fitness addict with the purchase. The purchase doesn't come with the motivation to work out. It comes with more variety, but the motivation, the inspiration has to come from you. Otherwise, you're going to end up spending the money, overspending, and then end up selling it on OfferUp or LetGo or even the Facebook marketplace.
Time to cool down.
Should you be spending all of your money on fitness equipment initially? The short answer is no. Rather, find an option that you actually like. Find something that you can stay consistent with and stay committed to. If you hate running, don't go out and purchase the most expensive treadmill thinking that that is going to motivate you to work out. And then only a month later, you're going to be selling the same piece of equipment on OfferUp, trying to recoup some of the money that you spend initially. Instead, I want you to try this yourself and answer or consider some of these things when you're thinking about purchasing or spending any type of money on your in-home fitness. The number one thing, know your goals. If you don't know your goals, how do you know that this piece of equipment is going to help you to get to it? So make sure that you know your goals, and which leads me to the second thing is plan. You need to plan how and when you're actually going to be working out. Plan on what you're going to be purchasing and what you need to reach your goals, and then plan on where you're actually going to keep the equipment in your home and dedicate that space to that equipment. Lastly, and probably the most important thing, is be consistent. Be consistent with something first before you spend the money. Be consistent with a less expensive option. And you have to be committed to something, otherwise you are going to fail at everything. So be consistent and be committed.
Good work today. You pushed yourself.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Trying to Fit. I'm your host, Coach Glad, and we're going to continue this conversation in our Trying to Fit online community on Patreon. For just a few dollars a month, you can support us on Patreon, and in return, you'll get the support that you need to chase your fitness goals. Join us next week where we're going to be discussing the future of health and fitness post-COVID. And if nobody has told you yet, I love you, God bless you, and be unstoppable. Bye-bye.
Join the